Hi everybody, welcome back to Majestic Collectibles. So the auction is up, it's going. It ends on the 18th, and if you saw the video, the start date is a little bit off because it didn't start on time. That was my fault. That's one of those tech things. I should have clicked a button and didn't, so that's on me. But the pickup day is the 21st. And that's August 21st. That's 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. Brass Armadillo Antique Mall here in Des Moines. If you marked down that you needed shipping, it's not going to be there. So if you do want to come and pick it up, that's fine. But please let me know. But I'm only bringing the stuff that people want to pick up. So I don't have to haul it all over and risk damaging it and clutter and things like that. So just let me know. I haven't got anything new in. Honestly, it's been a slow year and a half. No really super duper collections in. Got that one Spidey collection in, if you remember, probably about 3 months ago now. That silver Bronze Age collection, which was lower grade but nice to have because I always kind of run short on that particular title. Otherwise, though, not much going on. State Fair's going on. It's last weekend down in Des Moines, about 12 minute drive from where I'm at. We did not go this year. We went last year. It was rainy in the first part. Now it's hot and humid. And honestly, I've just never been a big fair goer at any level, but sounds like a lot of people are having fun there. I know they're pushing record attendance in spite of the hot and wet weather on it, so that's always good to see all the people coming to town and enjoying that. So if you're at the Iowa State Fair, you went there, I hope you had a really good time. It is one of the top rated fairs. I think it's always been first or second on state fairs in the United States for a very long time now, and there's a reason for that. So come and get your deep fat fried Twinkie on a stick, or Oreo on a stick, or pork chop. We put everything on sticks at the state fair here in Iowa. I no idea where that came from, but when we had our French exchange student, he thought that was really interesting that we stuck a stick in pretty much every single food that was at the fair in some way, shape, or form. So the French kids a few years ago really found that quite humorous and very, very fascinating on that. Anyway, I'm finishing up the list from my friend Corey at Coley Collectibles. I don't have a lot of items on the list yet. And so if you've got any topics you want me to talk about, please let me know. I didn't do all the topics yet. And I'm getting pretty much down there. I'm going to do all I'm going to do. Sorry, Corey. There's like some really fancy, heady stuff on here that, I'm just not doing it. But it was a really good list overall. So I think I'm going to nail about 85, 90% of it. So one of the things, here's one of the questions. One day a month, talk randomly about comic history or collecting habits. Pretty much... not necessarily comic history, but I kind of do that anyway, so I don't have it checked off the list. I probably won't speak on that, talk on that specifically, because I kind of do that all the time. If you could only keep 50 comics, what would they be and why? That's too hard, man. If I could whittle it down to 50 comics, I'd just say, and I wouldn't have a storage unit. I wouldn't be in this mess. I'll ponder that one. But don't expect me to do anything anytime soon on that. Outside of comics, name the top 10 collectibles you want to own. Some Godzilla, vintage Godzilla stuff, 60s, 70s, movie posters. Same with James Bond. I always liked original movie posters, and I do have a Goldfinger original movie poster. I had a Godzilla, and it was Godzilla versus the Thing, which actually was Mothra. It was not a great poster. I didn't like it. That's the only original one I've had, and I decided to sell it off because it was quite valuable. I picked up a couple of Japanese versions, which of course would be the original versions, right, from Japan, from the 70s and early 80s. They're a lot smaller movie posters than we have, but they are original ones, and so I'd probably maybe pick up a few more of those. I don't have a lot of room, and that's my fault because I have a lot of stuff. So that's pretty much the problem there. My pre-code horror, some ECs I'd really like to get my hands on. That first Tales of the Crypt, Crypt of Terror, actually is what it is. I guess, the Frank Frazetta covers for Dell on there, the Buck Rogers covers. There's 4, I believe. I can't remember anymore. There's not a lot. Fantastic covers. There's a couple of Planet Comics issues that I'd like. Those aren't super expensive. I don't see them, and they have a lot of brittleness issues with the paper on that. So I'm a little picky. I probably would have had those. So that's kind of it. I mean that's not a great answer. The problem is, if you asked me again in 15 minutes, I would change that because I do have a lot of interests. Pulp magazines. There's still some pulp magazines, especially some Shadow covers, early 30s Shadow pulps. I would really like to own, 1 or 2 of those kind of thing on there. Other types of collectibles, I'm not super, not really super into it. To be honest, at one time I did some Phillips 66, some early Mobil oil, gas oil, Petroliana stuff, but I guess I kind of got over that. I wasn't in it very long. I kind of had my fun and didn't really pursue that like I have some of the other things. So that really, I think it's going to be just down to a few movie posters, some pulps, and some sci-fi horror pre-code comics. And I think I got Strange Adventures 1, so Mystery in Space 1, House of Secrets 1, stuff like that. I would definitely like to own or add to my collection. I will say at my age, though, my enthusiasm has waned a lot. Because I was a huge Batman and Golden Age DC collector, and I had a lot of it. I had to sell it off 25 years ago, basically, when I moved down to our current location, and that kind of killed it for me because I was able to buy a lot of those when the prices were reasonable. I'm talking $50 to $100 for like a nice VG copy for non-key stuff, and then it was $100, and then it was a couple hundred, then it was $500, and then it got silly. So yeah, I don't really have anything else there that I'm really tracking down anymore, unfortunately. So that's kind of it on that one. Having a collection you love, I do like that, versus having a collection you value. Is one better than the other, or is there a happy medium? That's a struggle, I think, for a lot of collectors, especially us old guys, right? Us long-term guys, because when I started this, for a kid with a paper route, and then mowed lawns later, that was me. It wasn't hard. It was hard to find some of this stuff where I was at in a very rural area. But, if you saved your money a little bit, a lot of it was so affordable at the time when I was collecting. And I've always collected because I loved it. I didn't collect Batman because it was valuable. I am a huge fan of the character on it. And to me, personally, I think if you collect what you love, no matter what it is, then the monetary value is whatever, right? It's secondary. To me, is there a happy medium? Well, there is, because I love the stuff, and if a few of the nicer pieces go up, yay, right? But overall, I've never really collected just for money. A lot of people seem to think, and I mean most everybody thinks, I have some killer high dollar collection of stuff, whatever, comics usually, stashed away. I do not. I don't. Since I sold those off to move down here to buy the house that we're in now, I sold off, all that killer stuff was gone. So I really have never replaced any of it. You've seen my pre-code horror stuff when I do the videos and things like that, and that's kind of it. You've seen, gosh, I bet you 90% of my collection since I've been doing these videos, because I don't keep a lot of stuff. Just collect very specific things, and so for me, it's the love of it. Is one better than the other? That's up to you. Do you on this collectibles thing or anything else. Don't let some old fat guy on YouTube here tell you how you should collect, right? But I will say this. So the collectors that collect it for their enjoyment truly enjoy the whatever it is they're picking up. Okay, they seem a lot more content. The ones that collect it for value or investment or long-term financial reasons or gain, honestly, never seem happy. They seem to really do a lot of hand wringing and they like playing the grading game and they're always trying to get the next big thing or the next, whatever's popular, you buy in and hope it goes up. So a lot of speculation. But I honestly see just a lot of unhappiness with those kind of collectors. And then there's some successful ones. And so what do? They bring out their AF-15 or their X-Men 1, FF1. It kind of turns into this this bragging rights thing, which I don't get into, and they're not bragging because it's a cool book. They're bragging because it's a valuable book. And so I will say the ones that do seem to chase it for the money, the monetary more than the enjoyment of it, just seem to be a lot grumpier. And it's not comics, it's trading cards, it's pretty much anything, right? With sports cards, oh, such and so gets hurt, his card value is going to drop. Oh my gosh. I just think, I don't know. It just doesn't, it's not fun for me. So I don't really worry about that. Now, when I'm buying and selling for my business, oh, holy smokes, right? I mean, I don't have a choice. That's all dollars and cents. I've talked about that. And that is different than collecting. And this whole idea, I think, is a total myth that you can be a dealer collector, or dealer however you want to put it. I don't think that's the case. You can't serve two masters situation, and one always ends up winning out over the other. So I just don't buy into that whole dealer collector thing at all. You either are or you aren't on one of them. Because if you do things in the middle, halfway, half-baked, half whatever, nobody wins. You lose on both areas because you didn't pick one. So I'm not really buying into that. Never have. And again, you do you, but this whole concept of it being so transactional and so monetary based, like the value of your collection isn't in your favorite artist or your favorite story or favorite character. Everything seems to end up, my collection's worth more than your collection, or my collection's worth X number of dollars. And you can download, I don't know how many apps there are now, where you can put it in and, oh, this is the current market value. Well, you know what? Unless that app is going to pay you that number that it's showing you that it's worth, I don't think I'd buy that. I really don't. I don't think I'd jump all over that as being written in stone or gospel or fact. Well, actually, I talked on this one a little bit, so this is interesting here. I'll read this to you. You sold off a key comic to pay bills. Well, I sold off a collection. You now have disposable income to buy it back, but is more expensive than when you sold it. Do you want it back? If it's more than you set aside to buy it, do you sell something else in order to buy or save up? If possible, again, this is something a long-term collector of any type has wrestled with, and for me, it just I lost that drive when I had to sell this collection, and it was a nice collection. Wasn't nothing high grade. This all actually sold right after CGC started, and before it was I guess on Vogue, and before it was hot. So I think I sold all but maybe 10 books raw, kind of thing. But for me, I took the income and bought a house, and and this is the interesting part, so could I buy some of that back? You're talking a book I paid $50 or $100 for, I'd have to probably pay $900 for. So, nine times what I sold it for. And not all of them, but an awful lot of them, especially those gold and early silver Batmans. It wasn't for me. So I didn't do it. Do other collectors do that? I think, from what I've seen, when this happens, they'll buy back a favorite book. Not necessarily the most valuable book, but one that has meaning to them personally. And I will see them buy that back or search out for that one. And even if it costs a little more, it's still probably a lot lower than what they got for, say, their whole collection, or if they sold in a group or whatever. So I do see that. That's still fairly frequent. Oh, I had to sell this, such and so, whatever, back in the day, kind of thing. But to replace them all, no. There's very few people put runs together. The readers buy trades, trade paperbacks with the reprint stories in them, and then key books, and everything else in between is really pretty grindy on that. I saved up to buy something else. I moved into from the Golden Age DC superhero stuff. I had All Star, I had Green Lantern, I had All American, I had the first Wonder Woman in All Star 8. Okay, Detective Comics 38, first Robin. Now it was coverless, but it was complete. I had some nice stuff though, really rare stuff. I'm not getting that back, and so I moved into that pre-code horror, something I always kind of liked. Never saw much of it. The internet opened up that area, so that's what I do. I just buy something else, and I don't don't get too wrapped up in it, right? Where do I want to run? Sure, that'd be great. Do I need a run of stuff? No, I just kind of collect covers now instead of trying to put them all together. I do read them, but honestly, if you read 2 or 3 of those, you pretty much read everything. And if it's not an EC book, you probably the stories that aren't always great in the non-EC pre-code horror. Covers are great, but the stories and the interior sometimes they actually are really good. A lot of times not so much. So I just cover collect on that. And it's hard to save. Well, it was hard to save. So pre-COVID, everything kind of plateaued. So you could save up for a year or two for a good an expensive pricier book, and the price didn't change much. Well, then COVID came and everything blew up with the free money and just this insane level of silliness on what people were paying for things, and now that's come back down again. It's come back down pretty hard. Keys, non-keys, pretty much everything across the board. There's always exceptions, but overall it got dented to, I think we're pretty close to pre-COVID level doldrums, other than your one-on-one stuff, autograph stuff, uber rare case, one per case, uptown, downtown, some of the shiny stuff in Pokemon, that's one per case. That's always going to be good. The rest of it, it's pretty much come back down to earth on that. So I wonder if people that are collecting for enjoyment are going to start being able to save and get some books again. I've been looking at that Cryptoterror one, and they're hard to find, but they're not uber rare, and I don't need a super high grade one. I'd like one in that 3 to 4 range at least, and so that's going to cost a little bit of money. But you wonder, maybe now would be a good time. Yeah, I could start saving for that, and that book's probably not going to fluctuate much, not going to have a lot of volatility to it. So I'll be curious to see if that starts up again. I hope it does. The reason I hope it does is because if it doesn't, it means people are just basically in it for the money. They're trying to flip it, they're trying to speculate on it, trying to invest it. Instead of saving up for something they think is really cool and they get enjoyment out of. So we'll just have to see. We'll have to see. This is a wonky market. I really thought after the last election, with all the market wonkiness there and the COVID wonkiness before that, I really thought the economy was gonna be more traditional. Does that make sense? Or just kind of react more in line with historical trends and things like that. Not really, not yet. So that's been really curious to me, just from an academic standpoint. So we'll have to see if that keeps going or not. Is following the ups and downs of the market a proper way to collect? Do you buy what you want when you want it and leave the value in the background to play the long game? Yes, that's exactly what I do. As a matter of fact, that is number one. So ups and downs of the market, you can call it chasing profits. So for stock markets, there's some that, whatever is the hot meme stock, they'll sell everything and buy that and try and cash in. And when that slows down, or the next meme stock or popular thing, they sell that. So there's a lot of churn where, you're a lot of buying and selling, a lot of volatility in that. If I see a book, especially pre-code horror, I think it's graded accurately, first of all, so it's something I'd be interested in. I don't really pay much attention to fair market value or alleged fair market value, because I'll tell you what, not a lot of those books come up anywhere. So some of those, you only had 1 or 2 sales, and so it's kind of hard to comp. Boy, I hate that word. To research the sales and sold of an exact item. And I'm not buying whole runs, right? So if I see one I like, honestly, I just like, that's cool. What's the price? Will you take this? Yes or no? And if it lines up with what I like, I just buy the thing. And when you say play the long game, I'm running out of long game, okay? I'm not super old. I'm going to be 56 here coming up next month, so not quite a Yoda level. But I am running out of runway, right? If I'm going to be retiring in the next 10 years, probably a lot less than that. What's your runway length for long term at this point? So my long game is not 20 years anymore. When I'm 20, 30, even 40 years old, I think you can have a 20-year long game. When it comes to collectibles and investments, speculation, whatever. You get to be pushing 60, the long game is kind of gone, right? I mean, whether you like it or not, whether you're healthy or not, whether you're going to live forever or think you're going to live forever or not. The long game, I just, in my case, does not make sense to me. It just does not click, and I'm more, more moving into the here and now with some of these collectibles. But I'm also in the place that, if I don't get it, I don't get it. It's fine, I'd still like a Spidey 1, an Amazing Fantasy 15. Those are the only 2 Silver Age Marvel books I've never owned. Everything else I've owned at least one of, and probably multiple copies of. But not those two. I've never owned a single copy of either one of those. But if I don't get it, if I don't get one bought, if I never own one, I'm okay with that. I really am. Kind of thing. It's kind of I like them. I'd like to have them. What is it, like a bragging right thing? I don't really want it for that. I just want it for my own satisfaction to fill that in. So that's kind of my take on that. So the last one I wanna do here on this. Put together a list of junk era books that have a possibility of sustainable success and growth. That's what I was trying to get to. So put together a list of junk era books that have a possibility of sustainable success and growth. And first of all, let's define junk era for comics. I don't know if there's any set date. For me, it's kind of 1988 to 1998. That you might hear the term Marvel bankruptcy era. It's all kind of mashed in there together. A lot of independent books showed up. Image, Malibu, Tops. I'm trying to think here. Oh my gosh, there's so many of them. Dark Horse. It was a real big indie boom. Valiant. Yeah, they're running through my head. Anyway, so that's kind of the junk era. And they're junk era for a reason. There's a couple of reasons, just like with junk era sports cards. There's an ungodly amount of them made. I mean, millions and millions and millions and millions of copies of this stuff out there. Obviously, way more than the market can bear, because you can still find unread copies from that era without even trying. So what's good in there? Well, I've said this before, where I don't know as how the superhero stuff is where you want to go. I mean, yeah, there's some Spidey books in there, McFarlane covers. None of them are hard to find. From Maximum Carnage to any of the other, the Venom #1s. The shiny foil cover, the first one, Lethal Protector, I think it is. Oh my gosh, there are so many 9/8s in the population. There's so many raw ones that could be a 9/8 on some of this stuff. So I think a lot of that is going to stay junk. Now, where I think there's a ton of potential is in your indie books. X-Files books, especially photo covers, pretty hot. So your TV movie stuff is not bad. Aliens, RoboCop, Terminator, is all in there. Pretty good stuff. Jurassic Park is in that era. Pretty good stuff. Still collectible. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Scooby-Doo, Flintstones, those Harvey books and Harvey classics. Yogi Bear is in there. And these are things that, I still get a lot of ridicule for saying these names and titles, these cartoon books and movie books and stuff like that. But I got to tell you what, they don't get old. They don't die. They stay around forever, ever and ever and ever. They're always reinventing a Jurassic Park. They're always reinventing, a Tom and Jerry movie, which is surprisingly good. I've never been a huge fan, but was that 2-3 years ago the Tom and Jerry animated movie came out. The Disney Pixar stuff, which I think hasn't been as good, but that's okay, because you have Encanto, massive hit. Just in the last less than a month, K-pop Demon Hunters. Will there be a comic? Oh, I'm guessing. But these are things that are outside the comic book universe, the collector's universe, okay? And these are things that are popular with a wide audience. Everybody knows Bugs Bunny, Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck, stuff like that. And it sounds weird, but a lot more people are into that than the tights and capes and superhero stuff. Are there a lot of people into Superman? Yeah. Okay. X-Men? Yeah. Batman? Yeah. So that's always going to have a market. But when we're talking the junk comics, those are super easy to find, and there's not a ton of key stuff. There is some, but overall there's not a ton of key books in that era. And these cartoon books and movie books were printed in a lot lower print run. A lot fewer of them survived. You could go, mid to late 90s, just massive amounts of long boxes, quarter to 50 cents a piece had these books in it. Star Wars Phantom Menace. I know it's not everybody's favorite, I get that, but there's a whole new generation. That was their Star Wars, right? And they had photo covers, and they generally, like any other, the photo covers with the actors, Mace Windu, whoever, always do better than the painted. But my point is, that's always going to have a market somewhere. And the market, because it's a worldwide market that's into this stuff, you know what? I think it's got just a ton of legs and a ton of potential. They collect it because they like it, so I don't have as many people looking, can I grade this and get a 9.8? I don't have that mentality. I don't have the mentality of, I want to put this aside and retire on it or things like that. So I'm not seeing that mentality on those types of comics. And I think that's good. I think that's healthy. I think it's going to have legs. Now, are the prices going to shoot up? There's some early Pokemon stuff. Pokemon came to the U.S. in the late 90s, but it was around before. The animation's been around. They're not high-dollar books, but they're moving up. Sonic the Hedgehog, the Archie version, moving up. Okay, prices are moving up. Probably the biggest jump I've seen are the Nintendo books, Nintendo comics, Super Mario Brothers, things like that. Legends of Zelda in particular is a big book. That stuff moving up quick. So yeah, I think there is some investment potential in those books, and I think they have the potential to be a big dollar book because of the worldwide market and the scarcity on some of that. Their junk era, I would not say they are junk level though, like some of the other stuff, just because they're hard to find, and they're really cool. Everybody likes dinosaurs. Everybody likes Sonic. Everybody likes Scooby-Doo. How many times have they rerun X-Files, Married with Children, Jurassic Park movies, Star Wars movies? These are things that I think are going to be around and have just a ton of potential from that junk era stuff. And you can still get them, cheap. I'm not saying you should speculate or invest in them, but I am saying another 10 years, I could see that market really expanding and taking off in that time frame. So that's what I've got for now, guys. Hopefully I'm going to get some collections in, although I've got nothing really cooking. Nobody's contacting me on anything too exciting yet. We'll be at the Blue Ribbon Flea Market. That's Labor Day weekend in Spirit Lake. Then let's see. Then right after that is the Poke Bash. That's here in Des Moines. And then I've got that show in mid-October. That's the Heartland show here in Ankeny. First time ever in Ankeny. And it's a collectible show, not a comic show. So we should have a good variety of dealers and merchandise. They're not a huge show. We should probably have 20 dealers, somewhere probably around 40, 50 tables. I think we got 8 booths, something like that. So a good smaller to maybe, low-end, medium-sized show. And then I've got the buying show in Fairmont. And in between that, I always forget this. I don't know why. I've got the QuadCon Des Moines in Merle Hay Mall. Also at the end of October. I think it's 25, 26, something like that. Right in that range. So that's all I've got coming up. If you got anything you want me to talk on, got any questions, please let me know. Drop me a line, send me an email, leave it in the comments section. Whatever you guys want to do. Oh, I got to lead with this, but I'm going to end with this because I know not everybody watches the end of this. But thank you. So I got to leave the next video. I have over 700 subscribers now on my YouTube channel. I'm not monetized. I don't pay much attention to this. I just got a notice a while back. and I was absolutely blown away that there's even 7 people listen to me or tune in, let alone over 700 that have subscribed to doing this. So that's really neat. I'm going to give you everybody a special shout out and thank you at the front of the next video, providing I remember it. But I'll make a note so I remember it next time. And that's it. That's what I've got. Thanks so much for watching and subscribing. Appreciate it. See you later, guys.